So we actually did win this week in UFL, both personal and the show lineup. If you guys followed it, I know a lot of people tend to track our lineup build later in the week, which is valuable because they do showdowns for Saturday games specifically, and so there's still information out there for that game. But I do like the kind of the Friday showdown game. I know like the NFL saved that for Monday, like that's the big showcase. I kind of like that the UFL starts it off on Friday. They try to make a big deal of it. I thought it might be interesting this week, though, because we didn't do a review show. It just didn't fit with the budget. I do apologize. But again, we want to focus on more quality shows than quantity. So at this point, not even a lot of people are covering the UFL. So I feel like we're at least giving people a service. Speaking of metrics, though, and how the league's doing, I'm enjoying it. But I thought these numbers were interesting. Apparently, the viewership's been down. But, like, if you think about what they've been going up against NBA playoffs, Roy's Masters a couple weeks ago. I mean, some historic moments.
March Madness was still going on.
Right. And then March Madness also had the number one seeds were actually in it. Like there was a lot of
everything was kind of spread out. Like March Madness kind of extended into April way amount. NBA playoff starts after that.
NFL last week.
You had the Masters early. It's like I feel.
Yeah, NFL's last week was I think they said it was the second highest watched draft they've ever had. So like that hurt. Shador dropping to the 5th round really hurt the UFL.
And like you can say that's for toxic reasons. People want to make jokes online, whatever it is. Like, but it happened. Like the Masters is always going to be a draw, but it was a historic Masters. It was like Rory, finally capped off the the trophy, so it was going to draw numbers. But I actually agree with these metrics here. Maybe it is down in terms of viewership, but I actually think the play has been better, and of course the attendance has been inconsistent because there's like some blue blood places like Michigan, for example. Midwestern states always like their football more. St. Louis doesn't have the Rams anymore, so they're still pissed off about that. And that generates a fan base. But I mean, I don't think like it has to compare to the NFL. I would see this season as a success, personally.
Well, I think the attendance thing is a problem, but I think part of the inconsistent attendance is we have teams playing on Friday now. I don't think Friday night's working. I really don't. I don't know the exact
I would have to
numbers
see
on it.
where the attendance is lacking. Like, is it certain cities? Like
Birmingham is
Logan
definitely
alluded to, or is it certain like times? Like, is Friday not really getting the pull it used to, or is Sunday just not getting a game because of these big events going on and everything that people?
I would not be surprised if Friday night games got canceled. Based on what I've seen, I don't think people are really showing up on a Friday night.
That could be it. But like
they want weekend football.
Yeah.
Like the NFL is able to jam a Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday game every
or
time,
Christmas game,
Monday game. Like they're able to jam a game any day of the week because they're the NFL and they're doing it out spite really. But I think a Saturday Sunday schedule would work better for them.
I think it was a good try, but back to the drawing board kind of thing.
And I'll admit, I like it because it comes
because
on.
The quality of play and the sponsorships going up, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's going to give consistency to the league. Mm-hmm. You can then rebuild the ratings when the games are bigger and people show up.
Yeah, and we're not talking about like college bowl games where like any sponsorship can get involved. The Super Bowl game is sponsored by Underdog. Like I know Underdog has some other sponsorships too, but like they are getting bigger names to be involved. So that is good. Maybe you are right, Donnie, because like the league kind of does preach, affordability and family atmosphere and like bring your friends and like make it a whole community. And so like the weekends does speak to that. I think that's why baseball still does good regionally. So maybe they do need to get back to that. Maybe I'm just being selfish because I do like it. It comes on like half an hour before I get off of work on Friday. It's like
I like it.
Yeah,
but I get why.
From your standpoint, it's nice, but it's not working in terms of attendance.
Outside of that, I think really we should just kind of hit on a quick look over of last week, because last week was so good for us.
Yeah, I was going to show our lineup because it actually did quite well. We were in the top 10, and this is a niche sport, so we're going to be higher, and the payouts aren't going to be as much. But like, I feel like that's kind of baked into the fail-safe. Like if you followed this sport long enough and you grinded this sport, you kind of know how to hang around. Like that, we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, how a lot of the same names are at the top of the leaderboard. It does remind me of
how much was the top prize in this contest? Just curious.
I believe this is the
$12.
single entry, right?
If you look at the number one lineup, you can see.
Yeah, it was $12 single entry.
Oh, I entered the wrong contest. I would have won $12. I lost myself $4. The first time I don't enter the side.
That doesn't. That's where you got to have good contest selection and good bankroll management, but that's a whole.
It's not a big deal, but
And I don't know if I reserved late this week, by the way, but I didn't see the single entry. I think they got rid of the single entry. I had heard they had gotten rid of the 150 mini max, so they basically cut down on their quarter 150 mini max as well. So I mean, that's just the war of attrition. We talked about it. This league is not thriving. This league is not the NFL. Like when you have the NFL, they have the brand recognition. They can play on Christmas and get people to watch. This league's not that, but I do think it's good.
Do you want to pull up our one more time so we can get also a Panther fan won it. I wonder if that's Michigan Panthers or Carolina.
I
don't know. It could be both, right? Go.
Just hit on the quick view, Logan, for the top for yours. The top one, the very top thing to your left. No, to yours.
How about this instead?
Well, that works, I guess.
It does work.
I don't know how you play Sailors anymore. I don't know what his price is too, but he's 62% owned, and he's not. I mean, he had a couple weeks. In a couple weeks, and people are playing him like he's Christian McCaffrey. That's crazy.
He's getting the Christian McCaffrey safety net. Like he's not getting
9 points is not enough for me to give call him a safety net. That's like 2 weeks straight of this.
Yeah, but in this league, like running backs
after 3 straight weeks of you kind of needed him.
Yeah. I mean, Donnie, that's what I'm saying. In this league, like running back has been very sparse. We're talking about a lot of teams running two backfield monsters. So he's getting enough, but he
gets the workload to warrant what he's priced. But you're right. We do have to make the decision on him first.
Yeah.
I'm just not outright saying no.
Yeah.
The last couple of weeks I did. The first few weeks I said I gotta have it. Mm-hmm. Then the last week I'm like, you know what? I don't need
it. His price did go down. It went down $100 exactly. A couple of stats I did see talking about this week though, as we transition to the lineup, the DC defenders are actually running at a crazy high pace in comparison to the league. They basically are running 69 plays. It's basically the equivalent of another quarter. Like Taimu is basically getting another quarter of production over all other quarterbacks I saw. So they are playing at a historically high pace. It's very condensed, so I expect his ownership to be high. Duggan looked really good, but that was mostly due to running. People didn't expect the rushing upside of Duggan. I kind of saw some of it in TCU, but it was higher than even I expected. Hakeem Butler, I've been saying it for a while, he's the most talented physical specimen in the league. Now, he got there on 2 targets, but people are going to see that. They're going to see Mac Duggan, and I think that's the most popular stack this week. So we got to be mindful of that. When he got there, I mean, what was the first catch, like an 80-yard touchdown, Donnie? I know we were watching.
He had 2 70-yard touchdowns, or like high 70-yard touchdowns.
Right.
Something stupid. Unrealistic, for sure.
They were projecting, though, that Sailors will be like 30% owned this week because there's no really like obvious value, and people will want to go play Mac Duggan and Butler. That's why I kind of brought it up. So I do believe that you are playing a Battle Hawk this week, but I do think you're choosing between the Sailors route or the Butler route. I'd be surprised if people played both of them, but maybe. I did see, by the way, Memphis has a lot of injuries and a lot of questionable tags. on their entire roster, especially the receiving core. They also signed a wide receiver. It's good. Or sorry, Davis came back basically off of.
I did want to point out as well because we didn't really get to talk about it. When did Etling play last week? Because he had not. If that was last week, it was 9 passes last week.
Yeah, he did play last week apparently, but this week they did say that Bryce Perkins is getting all the touches. They're basically going to go all in on him being the MVP. They're going to commit to him all season.
Etling was awful.
Yeah,
4 for 9 and an interception. So
and people hated that he would even flirt with the idea of giving Danny the job back, but that was kind of his principle and his standard. So he did kind of run it, but apparently he's now decided that Perkins is the guy. Funny enough, Perkins would be my MVP candidate this week, so I do agree with you, Donnie. It was a bit of a crazy outcome to even give him a snap. But I mentioned Davis was back from Memphis, so that could change things. We don't know if he's going to be active or not. Davis Anderson had the biggest game, kind of had that Butler kind of performance, but he had like one catch and just blew up. Lassiter stayed the most consistent, sure-handed guy. Washington even got in there. I played Wynn, and that's what got me. He was really cheap, literally like a $6,000 difference, or $3,000 difference. Excuse me. He was $6,000 last week. So, like I said, the value is kind of it's dried up a bit. So we do have to be a bit smarter with our lineup build.
Yeah, I do want to say before we get into fully drafting as well, Rowland has a groin injury. Hamstrings, groins, I don't like to play, especially for a skill position. That makes me want to get one of these other DC guys, but we can talk that through.
Powell, by the way, could be questionable. It looks like he's going to play because Rollins might legit be hurt worse, but there was questions on Powell coming into the week as well. So a lot of people were saying that Sanders could be the guy, or Antonio is like the cheap, sneaky value this week because he did see 5
targets last week
and only 4K. And if we do expect Rollins or Powell to be out, and even if one of them is limited, let's say Rollins is out and Powell's playing because Rollins is out. If he's actually banged up, that could be valuable information. Gov, you have any thoughts? I know you didn't watch it that much, but I really do kind of love that perspective. Is we all kind of have different angles into the lineup build. Like we don't all have the same biases.
That's true. Like right now, I'm looking at the scores from last week. I'm looking at the offensive numbers, and I'm just trying to find honestly a good cheap play for when we get to the lineup build that I can put in. What looks good? Like, honestly, who do I like at quarterback? Who do you guys like at quarterback this week?
I'm playing Bryce Perkins.
I can tell you projectedly the highest ownership guy in comparison to what I've been hearing is Duggan. People are going to want to go back to Duggan. I think that's mostly due to...
And no one wants to late hammer Cookus for Bama? Or Birmingham? I'm sorry?
It doesn't sound like it. By the way, Corral is going to miss multiple weeks. It's not just a short bang-up situation. So it looks like Cookus will get the actual start here.
I do think it's interesting because now we can look at granted it's not a huge thing of data, but with a team that just started a new quarterback, Wynn's is he playing this week? I'm assuming yes.
Wynn is starting, yes.
Okay. So Wynn, we have new guys. Who does Wynn like to throw to? Who does Cookus like to throw to? Cookus seemed to love Kane for Birmingham, who's usually not on our radar, but if he's going to get 8 targets and nothing else for Birmingham's really working.
And then Davis coming back off of IR, if he plays this week, we don't even know if he's going to play, but if he plays, he has shown to be a number 1 receiver in this kind of spring football league. So does he take away from Adams? Does he help himself? Does he take away from Lassiter? So there's a lot of movable pieces. I mentioned in the description, at least we haven't seen a coaching change. That's about the only difference we didn't see. Speaking of roster moves, though, I talked about Davis. I had one other one I just remembered. Memphis got rid of their running back, so they have a a different running back. Now, they cut one of their running backs. I can't remember which one, and then they signed Hillis from last year. So the big bruiser back, and they don't even think he's going to be active.
I think we should start to build our lineup now and see where it leads us. Are we ready for the draft, the number order?
Yeah, we can do that. Got it pulled up, Donnie?
I do.
Okay. I'll start. I'll give you my number. I'll go Paige Becker, number 5.
I am going to go with number 92.
What? 50.
50.
93.
Oh, fuck you.
This one not the count. It was rigged.
Oh, boy. All right. First pick.
Don't take the assets. Of course,
By the way,
it's the middle, and of course, it's
you-
right next to your.
If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do it. I know a lot of people watch this show and they don't like and subscribe. It just takes a few seconds. Please do that. And if you're not familiar, speaking of the draft order, we do not take quarterback the first pick. So if you're ever like, why aren't you guys taking quarterback? We don't take quarterback first pick. But go ahead, Donnie.
Yeah, first pick. I'm going with our running back to start off. Toe, or what, however you say his last name. Under 6K, 15 carries last week. He seems to have taken that starting role.
And by the way, McCurry was hurt last week as well. It wasn't on the injury report this week, but he was clearly hurt, and that's why. I think it's
he still got 10 carries last week, and the week before he had 11. Like, Toei's taken the job from what it looks like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He has taken it, I believe, and they had an injury. Like McCray was literally banged up, and we saw McCray not get goal line carries. Like 2A is the goal line back for that team.
Right. I really like his price. I like where he's at.
Yeah, I that was one of my value plays this week. Which still leaves enough room for sailors because you can fit them into the flex.
Let's see. Who do I get? This is rough.
It is. There's no obvious value this week.
No, there isn't. I think the value is probably going to come from whoever we stack our quarterback with.
Mm-hmm.
Truthfully, so who's a stud I want to jam in?
Well, I remember week 1 there was an obvious 4K running back. I think from Houston, if I remember it, Lingard or something.
And he was listed as the starter, and he didn't get a single. He got one snap to start the game, and that's it.
Yeah, and I'd say based on the volume, you got the most obvious, the obvious value. Good play, Donnie, and even he was almost 6K this week.
Let's go with Justin Hall.
I like Hall a lot.
Definitely going to get volume. Hasn't hit the end zone yet.
I would agree with that. I think given that he hasn't hit the end zone, I feel like he has the highest upside based on his volume.
Well, it's since week 1. He hit the end zone in week 1, hasn't hit the end zone since. But he's getting 6, 7, 9, 10 targets in a game, catching a high percentage of those. Let's see if he can bust one. Let's see if he can get one in the red zone.
They have a new quarterback. McCollin's been playing pretty well too, but he hasn't got a lot of snaps. This is basically his first chance in spring football. He's under 400 snaps as a quarterback. So They've used like 3 or 4 quarterbacks this year, but McClellan seems like the guy they're finally going to. And weirdly enough, they finally committed to a quarterback, Gov, and guess what happened? They won 2 games in a row. So maybe that's a trend. It's kind of what we said though in the beginning of this. Like too many people were playing with the 2 quarterback setup. They were experimenting too much. Go figure. Stick with 1 quarterback. That usually works in football.
Yeah. Let a guy be consistent with the team and lead them, because that's the position. It's a leader position.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna play. See, Nakua is also out for 1 game due to a suspension because he slapped the fan. By the way, if you have an opinion, I'll just tell you what happened. The fan spit on Nakua, and that's why he slapped him. 2 wrongs don't make a right. One of them is getting suspended, and apparently the fan is no longer welcome back to the stadium. But that is going to make Michigan shorthanded at wide receiver.
Yeah, but they rotate receivers so much. Like
Turner, that's the thing.
Like, we know one thing about this team: Mariner's the guy.
Yeah.
The rest of the guys, you can kind of plug and play.
The reason I went to look at the depth chart, Donnie, is because Ross was on the injury report this week, but it looks like he's probable now. So you're right. With the rotation, I don't really want to go do it. So I will play Hakeem Butler, who I just think is underpriced. I do expect him to be the highest on wide receiver, but there's nothing wrong with eating chalk, especially in a condensed field where you have to try to get first to take away major money. I feel like we'd be getting too cute not to play him. Legit $1,000 too cheap, in my opinion.
He's the best athlete in the league, arguably.
Yeah. It's my pick again, right?
Yes, you go back.
Okay. I do think people are going to be higher on Duggan. They're going to see the production. I want to try to get Perkins because this will be the first time he's played the full game. Like, they're not doing any. Like, again, Houston goes away from the 2 quarterback system. They finally lock in on 1 guy, finally find some success. I think Michigan will do something similar. And we've seen Perkins also dump the ball off a lot, so I don't even think we have to double stack it.
We have every goal line carry of Michigan. Every single one.
That's a good way to look at it as well. But I'm saying he's not.
It's like if you played Lamar to Henry. That's how I view this right now. Maybe not to that extent, but you're getting that same idea.
Plays a lot like Tyrod Taylor for this league too. Also got a cup of coffee with the Rams. I think he's talented, especially for this level of football. It's your pick, right, Donnie?
It would be Gov.
Oh, that's right, because it's reverse.
Let's just go with Roughnecks defense.
Okay.
I don't mind it. I still don't like their coach. I still think he's kind of a doofus, but they are playing better. Like that team is bought in.
That leaves 2 flexes or 2 wide receivers?
2 flexes. You can do whatever you want, though.
Okay. No, I was just making sure. I'm gonna give you not much salary to play with. I'm gonna put us in an awkward spot, and we might move off it after. But for now, I'm gonna throw in Sanders from DC.
Okay. I don't mind it. Sanders has been seeing a lot of targets, and if Rollins misses,
I always attack people with those groin and hamstrings. I won't play it, so I have to attack the backup. If
I was thinking about playing Antonio, so I don't mind the Sanders play.
Last pick. It's my pick again.
It's your pick again.
All right. That leaves us with exactly 6K?
79.
Oh, 79. Ooh. Okay. Balazs.
Oh.
The most consistent running back in the league in terms of yards per carry. Like, his workload has been very good.
I mean, he's a solid play. We don't play him much, but we know he's good for a goal line carry every so often. He's only had 2 touchdowns. on the ground.
Now, funny enough, he is one of the running backs that actually is split. They use Hunter a lot as the kind of receiver, kind of theoretic running back. But Balaj is the number one true running back. But Hunter's kind of the gadget player.
It's not the sexiest play in the world, but it's a play I like.
Yeah, I'll probably rearrange these just so they make sense in case we have to make a late schedule adjustment, into the Sunday slate because Arlington plays first. But this would be the lineup in theory. Did we want to move off of anything? I kind of like it.
I was about to say I kind of like it. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Double checking. Yeah. I can run with this.
Now,
my personal is very, very similar.
The only thing I'm looking at would be like going down from Balaj to someone else in that 7K range, but we'd just be leaving money on the table. I don't think it's that marginally different.
mm-hmm.
Well, let's have the conversation. Who would you rather?
Well, I mean, I know.
I'll just
You
show
could
it.
just go flex Logan, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just show it for the people on the screen.
Kane might be okay. You can even get up to him. Like
I'm playing
Andre
Kane.
Maya and Turner are solid, honestly. But again, I don't think they're that. I don't think it's like that different.
You want to see a bad statistical season is Smith. He gets all the opportunity in the world. DC has been dominating. I talked about their pace of play being the highest in the league in terms of opportunity. They're literally on the field an extra quarter compared to most teams offensively. And yet his yard per carry are terrible. But
Marable's really bad too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Stallions can't run. It doesn't matter if it's Persons, Marable, or anyone.
Well, the Stallions look terrible this year. I don't care what the record says. They're not good.
Yeah. So I like to watch that.
Yeah, I'm playing both in personals. I'm playing Balaj and Kane. I'm very 50-50 on them. If you guys want to play Kane, you don't need to. That's up to you guys, honestly. I just went with the floor of a running back.
I don't mind it. But isn't I think Perkins is a crazy good value, considering in all of these games where he averaged 19 points, he was never the full-time starter.
Well, the week 4 he played. What was his week 4 stats? That was his one game as the full starter. Look at it.
Oh, that's because of the injury, right?
Yeah. But even when Etling plays, he still is really good.
Yeah. I just think that team's been really efficient. Probably looking at the best game of the weekend in terms of how good DC's been and how efficient Michigan's been. I do think this will be a good game to watch.
I think this week of matchups is actually really good as well because San Antonio's struggling but lost. Birmingham's struggling but been winning.
Mm-hmm.
DC Michigan's a nice matchup. Arlington St. Louis should be a good game. Memphis Houston. I just don't think either of those two teams are interesting to watch really, but
I'll say it again. If Paul misses for DC, I think you gotta consider Sanders like we did here, or even Antonio. By the way, Sims is also on the injury report. So this is the point in the year where pricing is going to get more, condensed. Like we see it in the NFL, pricing is more loose earlier in the season. It gets more condensed. The value goes away. People get more smarter with their projections. So you have to basically build in a floor. I don't think you can count on the 10-point, cheap guy this week. You have to believe in your guy. He can be cheap, but you have to believe in the workload. And so I actually like what we did here because it makes sense. Our value guys, we still expect them to be workhorses. And if they're not, we'll probably lose.
I can't believe Detroit is going to force a game set.
I'm not surprised. And if you look at that Hardaway jump shot, Double D's going to be mad at us for talking basketball. But if you look at that foul they should have called in that game, this story would be totally different. Cade Cunningham is really good. I'm glad people
Yeah. He is.
Yeah. People are finally seeing it on a national level. I've said to me he's better than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, but I know that probably
he's just in Detroit. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a Detroit homer though. We know.
Not normally though for basketball. I usually go West Coast for basketball, but I do tend to hate on the Thunder for some reason in comparison to most people.
Well, I think one thing about the Thunder that makes it like you don't really see teams that young win rings. That's the one knock on them. They just don't have as much experience as you'd like.
Yeah, and I've always been like a kind of like dog mentality. You got to go through the fire kind of guy. Like the Miami's, the Grinders, they have always kind of caught out to me. But we better stop talking basketball before Double J gets really mad at us. It's probably our one.
Double J can suck it.
We've only been on 30. We could definitely talk some basketball. What's the score of the game right now, actually? I turned it off to do this.
Hold on, I'm getting the live score right now. I've had it on DK Live. So.
Oh, this is beautiful. It's 112-107. So we do actually need to get ready to watch the conclusion.
It's a 5-point game, 2 minutes left. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like and subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section if you are watching the Pistons while watching the stream, or you have any comments on basketball. Should we talk any more basketball the rest of the year on these UFL shows?
Oh,
not that I'll listen to you, but
we're talking about the Celtics when they inevitably take down whoever advances in this second round.
How do you want to talk about the Celtics right now?
I do want to see how good the Cavs are.
They are personally being disrespectful, and I hope the worst of everything happens to them. I hope they never get out of the second round for the next 50 years.
They're.
I hope Tatum's a bit like Tatum. How do you It's a miracle you won one title. You don't even have a top 15 player on your team. It's just crazy. It's absolutely.
What if Tatum played so good in the first round? So good.
Tatum couldn't even get off the bench in the Olympics, and that had 15 Americans. Not even Luka.
35, 14,
fucking absolute
in a closeout game.
You'll never get out of the second round. Celtics suck.
I tried to end it.
You showed so much disrespect resting players in a first.